Hi, this is Skyden, and I am bringing you a community update for Wartales. So this is going to be a quick one, and eventually I'm going to make a video just to showcase this particular one. I still believe I have my high-end team, so I should be able to get to it pretty quickly. Of course, we're going to need some of the materials. So in this case, it looks like we do have a top 5 tier. And this is going to be a question of, it looks like you get it from the master woodcutter with chopping wood. And then there's also a question of some alchemical recipes in order to create this gear that looks pretty phenomenal. Now, is tier 5 gear the highest? I really need to check that out. But it looks pretty good. I like the shield, and I do like how it kind of looks a little bit not gold but full metal. So I wonder if this is going to be the next to the highest tier. It doesn't say here, but I like the fact that now you are diversifying, so you have less gap between the different gear up, and it's more of an incentive to go on scrounging a little bit of that material and get it up. I do like the art here. It's very medieval to it, except for the shield itself. Shield looks interesting. I am a shield guy. I like the idea of sword and board as it is, and that's kind of what I play around when it comes for the more tankier guys. Yeah, very nice. Very nice indeed. Now, there are also some interesting, this says 44 new confessions and 11 new traits. That's awesome, because it looks like what they really want to do is do this more of an RPG feel, in the sense that you are giving things more personality. And it's true that it really feels like you are the boss of a mercenary troop, but none of them really have that genuine feel of personalities, because most of them is just cornholing to whatever class you want it to be. And since there's not a really massive skill tree involved, it really boils down to kind of the three different versions of what you want, for example, a sword and board to be. So it's not necessarily going to be a high end strategic depth to it. Some major bug fixes, of course, which is what it should be. Fix the issue with enemy count and regional lock battles, improved memory management. So that's good. It really is when you get to the high end stuff that gets a little bit like it seems like there's something that just goes on with the memory of it that bogs down as far as the turn order and whatnot. And if they can fix that and make everything feel smooth, that'd be awesome. Of course, I end up with very big troops against very big enemies, so that can certainly be the case too. Major bug fixes. Crashes better during and after enemy's turn. Crashes during boss combat in arenas. Well, that's all good. I haven't really experienced that many crashes, so I don't know if that's specific to a graphic card or not. Fixed reinforcement and final battle in Drombach. I don't remember if that was ever an issue. It might be. Pirates of Beleriand. So I have all the DLCs currently. It's a fixed bounty, champion, and sea lore spawning at unreachable locations. I'm not entirely sure I ever experienced that. Fixed crashes with starting battles in Ludern. Okay. The Skalmar invasion. Fixed siege reinforcement spawning inside a castle. Don't remember that one. The beast hunt. Fixed an issue with not being able to complete the main quest. Didn't experience that one, so that's good. And then finally, fixed war ponies being unable to flee during the beast battle. I'll be honest here, I don't use war ponies. I think it's a misuse of the capabilities. The war ponies are not very good. No matter how to flesh them out, it's not going to beat, for example, having a pack of wolves that together can have the skill. So if you have the 3 wolves, for example, they all get a lot more crit damage. Why wouldn't you? Or the benefit, for example, of a bear that's really very tanky. Pig is, it's one of those things. I really wish that you could just pick a certain amount of things that you will bring to a war. But the reason why you have, for example, rat is cheese, or the pig is truffles, or the bear is fish. So that just gives you that extra material by just having those. Now, obviously, you need to feed them, but still, there's something about how plentiful it is when you get the, I would say, mushrooms, second best plentiful, the fish, least plentiful. Not necessarily because you're not around water that much, but even when you are, it happens, but it doesn't happen that often. Rat, pretty much any location you go into, it finds cheese. So it's absolutely worth it. And I haven't really gone into depth of of finding out those other things that you can find out. The transformed beasts after the beast hunt. I really should. But I've been so busy playing so many different new games that I never can go really deep into one specific, other than As We Descend. Made a ton of those. Okay, minor fixes. Fixed unreachable fishing spots. Hmm. I mean, I do the fishing, but not as, I would say, dogmatically. Fix various UI and type issues. Well, that's nice. Fixed Marheim interaction box. I wonder what that is. Item comparison feature. Okay, interesting. Co-op. I don't do co-op, so all of that means nothing. Pitch DLC fixed an issue with gamepad, preventing game. I don't do gamepads. I'm keyboard and mouse. The scalar invasion fixed disappearing bounties. That's interesting. I don't remember if that was ever an issue when I ran that one. Might have been. I just, at that point, I had so much money and so many resources that, one bounty wouldn't kill anything, the economy or anything for my team. So, bounties disappearing wouldn't be a big issue. Not at that point, anyway. And that's it. So, this should be a free update then. And I am curious about this tier 5 gear, how that fits into it. I wish they could have told us right here if that's the high end or if the mid to high. Well, I can always check that out. But yeah, new recipes available for all gear types. That's cool. So that is the interesting part. It is true towards the end, you will have legendary weapons more than anything. And that's just the nature of it. You find so many different ones, and you clearly are not going to use regular stuff. But armor, definitely. Shields, not so much because there are several good legendary shields that you will use. But there might be some use for these high-end shields. If that's the case, weapons, again, lots of legendary, even true with the armor. But there are some of them that I do have armor on. Now, you will find several different semi-legendary, one of the rare types, I think the yellow ones, if you want to call it that sometimes can be upgraded. So there's certainly a good reason to look into this. But as it tends to be, you're more going to use the very high-end stuff that you unlock. So is this a wasted effort? I don't think so. Diversity is always a good thing. The confessions and traits, however, those are interesting. So I definitely want to check that out. But anyway, there you go. We have a new update to Wartales. Now, this one is interesting because, again, I'm always interested in anything that's going to be new and updated. And they've been kind enough over the years to actually update the roadmap fairly often as they get more into what's going on. So this one would be the community update 6. So that's the traits and confessions. Some of these are unique confessions written specific for unique characters you may recruit. Oh, unique characters to recruit. I like that. I do believe there are some, like that lady that's caught by those guys that want to turn her into Fireball. She ends up being a ranger, I believe, but there are also others. So if they are going to have their own unique stuff, that actually makes sense. I like that. That means that what you recruit also have a special benefit to your overall group of mercenaries, and they don't just feel like they're just a face and a name, as opposed to actually having unique traits. I like that a lot. So that's the community update 6, which is the armor, weapons, notification log, traits, and confessions, etc. The next one should be the DLC then. It has build and expand your fief, rule over your subject, produce resources and goods, grow your population. That's going to be interesting. I wonder, depending on the limitations of the engine and the world that they have created, how that's going to work. I like that a lot. They have a Wartail Starter Edition. How interesting. Well, I own everything, so that won't really help me. And to be announced, new region and storyline. I like that. But how will that work if you had the fiefdom and then you go to just another region? Well, obviously, you can always restart. You can always start and kind of build yourself up to your fiefdom, and that can be the final thing in your journey. So that's pretty interesting. Would I want to restart every single time? I don't know. So, what is that? Wartales the Mercenary Edition? Am I missing something? I doubt that. It tells me that I could pay for something for $3.37. Okay, interesting. Starter editions and expansions. That's awesome. I do want people to grow this community because it is an excellent game. It's very different in the way it works. So many games out there are similar to the XCOM system, or like Jagged Alliance 3, which is kind of a version of the XCOM system where you have the half cover and whatnot. The War Tales in the turn-based way it works is a little bit different, and I really like it. If you ever played the game New Ark Line, New Ark Line, is that what I call it? New Ark Line. And if you ever played the game New Ark Line, it is an interesting version of so many other similar games, and it's more closely, in my humble opinion, to something like this. Not the system itself, but the fact that you always hit, but then you have things where you can negate hits with dodges, for example. And you have this expansive way of building up combat. Here, I really like this system, and I love Wartales as far as a game. Something I like to come back to, and especially since they keep adding new additions to it, is well worth the time to play it out. The Beast Hunt was interesting, and I haven't really taken advantage of everything the Beast Hunt could do. But it was a perfect conclusion of something that had been released previously with that big monster thingy, and now you can actually complete it. And through that, you got more different legendary items, and there's also these encounters that I haven't really done yet with those monsters. So very interesting. Looking forward to this, and I am very pumped about this whole fiefdom that's going to come out. Well, we're almost in August, and it's going to come up in September. Something to look forward to. So, you have a great day. You have an awesome life. I hope the weekend upcoming is going to be great for you. I know we are towards the tail end of the summer, but I hope it's been really awesome for you. And until we meet again, as I always say, adieu.